Hi, welcome to the DIY Photo Organising Podcast, focusing on topics to help you with your photo management. I'm Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. So, given this is our first episode in 2020, we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions.
Yay!
Do you have any, Fiona?
Oh, goodness me, New Year's resolutions. Well, no, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with New Year's resolutions. So I'm out for New Year's resolutions. But I do allow the beginning of the year as just a bit of a focus on things that I might like to change or look at. But I find personally hard and fast New Year's resolutions is a bit of a setup for failure. But I do like to use that time to really think about, just sort of reflect back and look forward as to some things that I might like to implement. And yeah, I think New Year's resolutions sometimes can be an all or nothing type of mindset. But I also do think that it's naturally a bit of a refreshing and a new season, and so it's a good time to maybe look at some things. So that's how I look at it. How about you? What's your view on it?
I'm pretty much the same. I sort of gave up on it because I never managed to follow any of the resolutions in the past. So But and also, if you've got goals or you want to change something, you don't necessarily need to wait for the new year to start. You can do that anytime.
Exactly.
But as you say, it's January. It is the start of a new year, and it's nice to sort of reflect and plan a bit and have a think about possible changes and new habits. So of course. We want to talk about photo management habits.
Yes, exactly. So this is a good time to be able to help our listeners who might be thinking about this sort of area, otherwise they wouldn't be listening to us, to start to just to look at maybe some things that they might like to consider in this area for them, for themselves. So what are some of the topics that we're going to cover in this in this little episode?
First, we're going to start with backing up.
Yes, that's
You might have heard us talk about backup before.
You've been with us for a little while.
And decluttering, of course, is a big one. We want to minimise the collections and only have the best in there. So how can we do that?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
What else do we have?
So then we also we're going to talk a little bit around, just setting some goals or thoughts about enjoying and sharing your photos. And a good one to start the year off is, just some fundamental changes on the way you take photos.
Yeah.
On the number of photos you take and why you're taking photos in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to cover. So let's jump in. Backing up. So what we thought we'd do is just sort of give you some ideas. If you're listening, about some things you might like to look at for the year about focusing on backing up your photos. So we've talked about how to and different options. We've got episodes in the past about that and some new ones coming up. But in this episode, we just wanted to give you some suggestions on maybe looking at and thinking about the best time that makes sense to you about when you do your backup. So this is very varied. It depends on how often you want to back up, how often you really need to back up. But some things that you could think about could be, picking a regular time that you do something. So that could be, if you want to back up every day, you may say, every morning when I turn on my computer, I plug in and hit my automatic backup. You could do something if it's going to be more infrequent. You could say something like when the clock changes for daylight savings. If you're in an area like that, you do a total backup of everything and all your photos and all your computer as well. But you could pick a time like that. Some people make that time when they change the batteries in their fire alarms, things like that. So you could pick a time that makes sense to you. You could pick a regular day. It could be every Sunday in the evening. I do my phone backup and a regular, sort of clearing out a process. It could be a regular weekly type of thing. You could say whenever I respond to emails, I do a quick backup of my photos as well. So if you, just thinking about maybe making some changes or implementing some things that could be new habits that you could form, there's some suggestions around backing up.
Very good.
All right. What about decluttering, Chantal?
Oh, that's the big one.
Yes. What are some tips?
So it sort of ties in a bit with the backup. It's basically, think about when would be a good time for you to look at your photos and to declutter, delete the ones that you don't want. Often, usually these days, people's camera is the phone, so we always carry it around with us. And we came up with a few ideas where, that might appeal to you. What could be a new habit, for example, to go through your photos and delete them, or not all of them, while you're on public transport, for example, on the bus, in the train, not when you're driving, please.
Yes, exactly.
We don't want to be guilty of creating accidents.
Or breaking the law.
Yeah, or breaking the law for that matter. That's right. If you're on the phone a lot and, you know how it is when you get into that waiting loop when you call somewhere, that might be a good moment for you to go through a few photos and get rid of them. Or if you've got the habit to look at your phone or have your phone near you when you watch TV, maybe in the evening, you could use an ad break to go through photos of the day and delete the unwanted ones.
Absolutely. I love that one. I think that's a great, because it's just you there and you've got nothing else to do. You're not going to usually watch the ads anyway. No. Just trying to sell you more stuff or... Anyway, something like that. But that could be an option too. What's another?
And a typical one, of course, is when you've got to wait, when you've got to go, when you've got a doctor's appointment or something like that, and you sit in the waiting room, everyone's staring at their phone, so you can use it to do something good, really, and go through your photos. Take a few minutes. If you do that regularly, it doesn't take long.
That's right. And just thinking about that, if just picturing yourself doing that, if you've taken out and decluttered some photos at one point, the evening before or last week or something, just keep a little note somewhere handy on your phone as to where you were up to.
Yeah.
So just keep a little note with the date, and then just pick back up from that date. So then you don't have to go, oh, where was I? And flick back. Just keep a little note on your phone if you're doing it on your phone. Most of these, obviously we're talking about if you've got access to the photos on your phone.
That's the advantage when you do it on a really regular basis. Like every night you take 5 minutes, or every morning you drive to work. Then, because it's very limited, you don't have to go through thousands of photos, and you exactly know, okay, because I do that every day, I only got to do the last day.
Yeah.
And not go back 5 weeks.
Yeah. So if you've got to do the backlog, then this is a different issue. But different. If we're looking at, even if just from this year, just do that from this year moving forward. You'll be ahead of the game when we do another episode like this next year.
And as you say, Fiona, it doesn't have to be every day. So this can be, whatever makes sense to you.
Yeah.
In terms of frequency, it can be once a year. That's still better than never.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might not take a lot of photos.
Yeah.
I have clients, they really, like, oh, is that all you have?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Because we're getting used to see such huge numbers. That, if you do have huge numbers, that is a real good reason to actually get decluttering. And get rid of some of these photos. Yeah. Now, what would we delete? We've talked about that in the past as well. Typical ones that you can get rid of is screenshots. Bursts are a big one for some people. Yeah. You don't need 20 photos of almost the same thing. Just, go through them, pick the best one and delete the others. Obviously, bad photos, blurry ones, underexposed, overexposed, all that stuff. Any photo that's not a favorite, just get rid of it.
Yeah. And that brings us to the next sort of focus on sort of a resolution on new habits, enjoying the photos. If you've decluttered them and you really do have the favorites and you do, we're not saying get rid of everything, but we're definitely saying be really mindful about why you're keeping and what you're keeping. Because it's really the most enjoyable part is then sharing them and reliving and looking back on those photos. And when you have a smaller collection of valuable, memorable, meaningful images that capture that moment, you're more likely then to actually go back and look at them. Because it's not overwhelming. And so enjoying your photos is really this next part of what we're suggesting maybe you could look at as sort of some goals in this bucket of New Year's resolution. So that could be ways that we were thinking of sharing with you that you could think of, could be to maybe look at a wireless photo frame, digital frame, that you can then share. There's some fantastic products out there that you can, easily either just, plug in still a USB or something like that, but wirelessly you can just link it up with a photo, with an app on your phone and just send them across. And, then you can enjoy them. You can email photos to that as well. So, look, that's just something that sometimes they can be a bit pricey, those digital photo frames. But prices will come down as time goes on, and it really is, they're beautiful. I know you've got one yourself. I
love it. Yeah, that's my favorite way to enjoy the photos, because I do photo books, but not a lot. I'm way behind.
As a photo organizer.
I do it for other people, but not for myself. No, I do a few, but the digital frame really sort of has made my life a lot easier, because I can just email the photos, and next time it's running, it's there. And we can look at it and have fun and enjoy that memory.
It's lovely. So another thing to really enjoy those photos is just set a regular time and order some prints. You could make they've still got some photo albums. We've talked about photo safe albums before, but there are products out there in the market. So just set a regular time, order some prints, either, put them in frames, put them in a book or something that you can just, see, so that others can share and enjoy those as well. Another one is to, just block out some time to create a yearbook. We're at the beginning of a year, so we could be looking back now from the 2019 year. And if that's something that's important to you and you'd love to do, then pick yourself a date that you'd like to have them all, sort of chosen by, and go online, have a look at some of those services out there that can do some photo books, and make that a goal for yourself and get that done. It's a great time to be able to do that. We don't have any new days in 2019, so they're all there ready for you. You can't take more photos from 2019 when you're in 2020. So it's already a set beast you're working with. So it's a good idea to start that if that's a goal for you. And also, if you are going through your photos and they're culled to a degree where it, you can reflect back and look at them, then even when you are waiting somewhere, you can enjoy them. You can look back and see. And sometimes some of the apps that we've got these days, they come up with memories that are made for us. Facebook, social media places have them, and apps on our phone, and Photos, Mac and Google have them as well. And it's much more enjoyable to actually look at those pre-made things when you know that it's actually going to be selecting photos. Not from, they're all the same photo, or they're, sunsets that, you've got 50 of them, and really you love 3 or something like that. Then just keep those ones in there. Then you'll enjoy it when it makes those things. So we just really encourage you. That's why we take photos in the at the end of the day, to enjoy them. So, all right. And what is our big last one, Chantal?
Yeah, that's my favourite.
Yes, I agree.
We want to nip it in the bud and take fewer photos. Because, so why is that my favourite, or our favourite, I think? It's really the easiest way to save time on photo management.
Yeah.
Because the more photos you take, the more time you will need to spend to do whatever comes after.
Yeah.
You know, the more you need to back up, to declutter, the more time you will need to create albums, because you will struggle to find the few really good ones that you want to have in a book or however you want to display them. The list is really endless, and so don't take as many photos in the first place. That's what we really want to encourage you. And also have a think about why, because photos are like physical clutter too. They take up space, digital space,
Yep.
you know, but it's still space, which is real estate, which equals to money.
Yeah.
These days, for cloud space, for hard drive space, whatever it is, it costs money.
Yeah. It does.
We tend to forget that, but it's become a normal that we pay for that space. Also in the cloud is not free, and it might not be very expensive, but you know, it's still money. So the fewer photos you have, the less storage space you'll need. And when you keep thinking about that and the physical clutter, the photos and the digital clutter can take a toll on your health as well. I think that's overlooked a lot, because possibility that you are listening right now is because you are overwhelmed with your photos, because it's most probably too many. So that's not a great state to be in, I find. You know, you don't want to feel constantly overwhelmed. And it also sort of, it blocks us, it keeps us from taking action and doing something with these photos, and then we feel stressed. We don't want that. So taking fewer photos as a start has a massive ripple effect. Everything will become easier after that. You know, you need less time, less storage, less money, and the good thing is you'll have more time to be creative, to do what you just said, Fiona, with all, you know, the photo books, the frames, whatever you want to do with your photos. Then you've got actually time to do that.
Much more likely, to do that. So true. So our advice to you lovely listeners out there is just think twice when you're going to an event, or you just pull out your camera to take a snap of something. Just think why. Why? What are my options next to do with this photo? Like, why am I taking it? You know, am I taking it because it's a moment that that I need to, you know, capture because it's an event that is very important or memorable, or it's just something quick and funny. And you know, we're not saying to not take photos. No. But we're definitely just saying think why you're taking, or when would you see this again? And then, because when you see it again could be absolutely in a photo book. If it's a wedding, say it's a very deliberate event, or if it is something funny that your kids have made or done or something like that, then you know you're going to make some fun book with it, or some fun, you know, creative piece to give to somebody else with that photo in it. You just think a bit differently, and then you take your photos differently. So just think. Have a think about it. And that's so they're the main things that we're saying that could be good. And so what, Chantal, do you think you might do?
Let me think
for
about
your 2020.
Well, I've got a backup routine in place, of course, and I've become better and better at decluttering, which is, I think, sort of a natural thing to happen when you work a lot with the photos. But it's definitely, I have already improved, but it's still taking fewer photos. And let go of more. That's definitely one of my goals. How about you?
Look, I'd have to say the same. Because although let me just interrupt myself because I just want to say how proud I am of Chantal. She went away. You went away, and you've already done your photo book.
Yes, I have.
Oh my goodness! Like really, that's so awesome.
The day we 2 days after we came back home.
That is
I've
impressive.
had my book done.
That is
Yeah.
impressive. It's
But
great.
you know what? That's only from experience, because I always want to do the books, and then it never happens because life happens.
Yeah.
So for me, I've learned I need to do it straight away. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got businesses, you know, and we've got busy lives and families and kids, and you know, so we both run, you know, we're busy as you would be who are listening, and so it's just as hard for us, you know. We've got, it's like, you know, the painters whose house is never painted or something like that, but no, we practice what we preach, and I was just I wanted to share that with our listeners.
And I deleted half of the photos that we took. Yay!
There you go.
And I still have too many.
That is so good. That is so good. So my resolution. So yes, my thoughts are definitely around the fewer photos, and I actually started doing that over the Christmas period and into this new year already. And I have to say, it's really refreshing.
Yes,
because people know me as, you know, Fee's always got the camera, Fee's always, you know, and so I do take, but I like to capture those moments, but I'll take one or two, whereas I may have taken, I don't know, 5, 8, 10 of a particular thing. Yeah. So it's definitely reduced, and it's good. I really can see it's freeing. It's much easier at the next step, that's for sure. Yeah. You know, when you do the other part of the organising. So wonderful. So, we'd love to hear from you, whether you've had any other, you know, if they've got photo-related New Year's resolutions and that you might be thinking of, or that this has sparked some ideas and what that might be. So, jump into our Facebook or Instagram and make a comment and a post about this episode. We'd love to hear from you. And the links are in the show notes. And so, it's wonderful. So thanks again. I'm Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. And we'll see you again in about 2 weeks.
Wonderful.
See you.
Bye.